Welcome to the Woodpreneur podcast, the best podcast for the business and marketing side of the sawmill, lumber, and wood industry. What's a woodpreneur? If you have a business where you make money as a woodworker, sawmill owner, selling slabs, or a content creator, then you're a woodpreneur. My name's Steve Larosiliere, and I started Woodpreneur Life, Acres of Timber, and the Woodpreneur podcast just for makers, wood entrepreneurs, and small business owners just like you. We're on a mission to empower thousands of wood businesses to grow sustainably and put out great products. Each week, I interview makers, sawyers, content creators, and 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs that know the wood industry inside and out. With topics covering everything from the urban lumber movement, sustainable sourcing and design, we'll discuss the ins and outs of how to grow, monetize, and fully immerse yourself in the woodpreneur lifestyle. If you're a hobbyist, a full-time wood business owner, part-time entrepreneur who wants to become a content creator, or quit your day job to pursue your dreams, the Woodpreneur podcast is just for you. Thanks so much for listening. Now enjoy this episode. Hey, welcome to a brand new episode of the Woodpreneur podcast. This is your host, Steve. Today's guest is Shaun Burroughs from Build Nashville. How you doing, Shaun?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm well. Hey, give us the backstory. How did Build Nashville get started? What's the origin story?
If we're going to origin story, so Build Nashville started out, I wanted out of construction, 18 years old. My buddy's dad gave me a job for $8 an hour. You know, I'm cleaning up job sites. I'm the grunt running Bobcats, just doing whatever they need. And I think ultimately the owner of that company was building his own house, and they sent me over there to clean up the site while the trim carpenters were working. So I'm over there and I'm seeing these guys in awe, just hanging crown, walking on stilts, putting in this beautiful staircase. And I'm like, I'm going to be a trim carpenter. I'm going to figure that out.
Yeah.
So lots of ups and downs and all abouts of other tasks, and ended up trimming houses for a guy on the weekends. My mom was dating or something, and he got sideways, wasn't paying taxes, something silly, and took off to Florida. And the superintendent called me. I was like, "Can you trim my houses?" And I said, "Yeah." So I quit my job. My wife's 6 months pregnant. I got full coverage insurance, whole 9 yards. Spent her last $2,000 on workman's comp and general liability, and go try to start trimming houses for a tract builder out in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. And if it wasn't, I'd never set a door. I'd never installed a step. All I'd ever done is put baseboard and trimmed out window stools. So I'm on YouTube. I'm Googling videos. I'm trying to figure life out. And I think I got done with my first rail. It's like 37 foot. And that rail bent side to side about this much. So I'm at Lowe's before they close, buying new posts, trying to figure out how to saws all this rail out and drop a post down in the wall. And did that. Hid from the builder a few times. The superintendent had my back, but somehow figured that out. And the next thing you know, I think I had 5 crews running under me a couple years later. And we're trimming houses all over infill Nashville. It was 2007 when I started that company.
Yeah.
And infill, like suburbs, went to crap. And one of the builders that was doing work downtown called me up, and next thing you know, I'm doing all his work. I'm laying his floors. I'm building his fences. I'm installing his windows, trimming his houses. And then as that infill market just kept progressing, I just kept picking up more and more builders. Till finally one of them asked me, he was like, "Hey, can you just manage my houses?" And I'm like, "Sure, I can build your houses." So, just kind of started building that guy's houses. I think for pennies. That guy was paying me $2,000 to build a house, or 4,000, 2,000 at the start, 2,000 at the end to build this man's houses.
Yeah.
And my wife's asking me, "Why are you doing this? You're working till 2 o'clock in the morning." I said, "This guy's paying me to go to school to screw things up that he has to. He has to. I got to fix, but he's got to pay to fix."
Yeah.
I was getting $4,000 a house to go to school. I did that for about 5 years, and me and Jamie, a girl over there that was basically managing all the clients, we're like, "Hey, why don't we just do this?" And So I think it was right the day before Christmas one year. We sat down, we got some investment funds together, found a property, and decided to start this and quit our jobs. And I think we were going to build like 5 houses a year. It was going to be amazing. We were going to have all this downtime and not do anything. It's just going to be chill, and we were going to make all this money. And I think our first year we built 8 houses.
Yeah.
And second year is like 12, 15. And now we're in a pretty steady mix of we build about 30 houses a year. And
Incredible.
changed from a level. We started out in the probably $600,000 price point, which is kind of low end for Nashville.
Yeah.
And I'd say our average is about 2.5 to 3.5 is
Wow.
standard what we build now. And
Wow.
that's in Nashville. That's probably 4,500 to 5,500 square foot
Yeah.
pool, all the fit and finishes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's dude, that's an incredible story. I love so that you started right before the crash, basically.
Yeah, that's a start trimming houses right there.
Yeah. And now the houses that you're designing are incredible. I mean, the your portfolio is ridiculous. Talk about that first year. You said you there was like a woman from that other company, like you decided to partner up. Is that what happened? Or
Yeah, Jamie Duncan, we're business partners to this day.
okay.
Um, um, yeah, we just she had a deal. We mutually knew a real estate agent who was dating some investor that wanted in the national market, and
Hmm.
we sat down and wooed this guy, and he jumped in and said, I'll back y'all as a 30% 33% partner. So it
Yeah.
basically we told the guy if the deal makes $3, we all get $1. If the deal loses $3, we all put $1 in the pocket. And
Yeah.
he put up all the funds, I put up the build, and she basically put all the deal together, and selections and finishes and whatnot was kind of her gig at the
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. You were the build, she was the design, and the guy was the money and the runway to get things going.
basically,
That's
and
so cool. That's so cool.
he's still in it to this day. And
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
But talk to me about what was it? What was it that first year? What was it? What were the big challenges as you as like a leader, entrepreneur? Like what did you have to like overcome in order for you to sort of break through?
so starting Build Nashville, we bought the first property, and we go to the lawyer like, should we get a sole purpose entity for this build? And I hear of other people doing that in case you get sued, whatnot. He said, look, man, if you get sued on your first deal, you just need to quit. I'm like, all right, makes sense.
He said if you get
So
sued on your first deal, you
if
you
you
just
just
pack up.
just quit.
He said delete
Yeah.
the app. delete,
Yes.
delete the app. Yeah, yeah.
So we buy this deal. I talk. There's a weird deal with the neighbor's driveway being on this property,
Uh-huh.
927 Bradford, our first gig, and the neighbor's driveway crosses over the property a little bit. I go talk to him and say, "Hey, man, this is mine. I'm gonna buy this. I'm gonna rework your driveway. I'm gonna move it over. Is that cool?" He's like, "Yeah, totally. Like it's your property. I'm sorry. I'm even on it. Don't even worry about it. We'll do that." Talked to the lawyer. Lawyer said, "Yeah, that's good. Don't worry about it." We started building the house. I went over and communicated with him. The moment the saw hit that asphalt, stop work order notices hit everywhere. Adverse possession claim.
Dang.
So you got to have 20. You got to have like 20 things to hit an adverse possession claim,
Yeah.
and this guy had all 20 of them.
Dang.
So I get sued on the first deal. It gets tied up. Somehow the lawyers work it out where I could sell the duplex I was building. I could sell the duplex, and I retained this little sliver of land that was in question. And that deal, I think that lawsuit went on for probably 4 years, which was a blessing.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we ended up paying this guy out. I think somewhere $70,000, $80,000.
Yeah.
But we had 6 years worth of runway to start making a little bit of money. If I'd had to pay it out on that one, it'd have been shut down the app. You're over.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean? But
yeah, 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 yeah.
so it was a rocky start, but we all made pretty good money off the house, even with the lawsuit. And
Hmm.
luckily, my investor wasn't scared, or maybe he was had too much courage or whatever. He kept going with us. So I think we just kept buying properties and kept doing the same thing. And luckily, haven't ran into another adverse possession claim. But that was a scary one right out the gate.
So do you think like, I mean, obviously it sounded like you had a good support system to help you get through it, right?
I mean, kind of.
Hmm.
The lawyer quit, so
Yeah.
we ended up
Oh,
having
okay.
to hire another lawyer. It was
It
it's
was a
just kind of all
challenging
those.
time.
We weren't, at the time we weren't smart enough to know better, so we just took the next step. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Like,
You
didn't
just
know
kept
what it
going. You just
was,
kept going. Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
kept moving forward, just kept trying to freaking make something happen. I'm still running my trim company. I'm still
Yeah.
trimming houses for all these other infill builders. And then this is just kind of like, it's a side gig at that point. It's like,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
this other thing I'm kind of playing with that
Yeah.
hopefully is going to turn into
The
something.
home building was like was another sort of school lesson in leveling up, right? So
Exactly.
like the first, that the guy you worked with for 5 years, you got paid to learn how to build houses, and then now you started to take the risk on building your own houses now, and you had that experience, but then you hedged it by still trimming houses, right? So like you're like putting your time and your investment into this new thing, and then watching that grow and learning at the same time with some partners.
Yeah, because our deal was Jamie and I, we didn't get paid till the house sold. So
Got
it wasn't like I could just quit and shut down shop.
it.
I
Yeah,
still needed to, support my family and
yeah, yeah,
pay
yeah,
my mortgage and all the other things going on in my life. So still
yeah.
kept running the trim company and just kept, what's this other thing going to do? And,
Sure, sure, sure,
you know,
sure. Tell me what was the first sort of level up milestone in the business where, was it like the number of crews, or was it the number of houses? Was it like bringing on a particular type of system? Like, what was that first like milestone where you're like, oh, wow, the path is a lot clearer because of this? Because, like you got to a plateau and you start to see things the way they are. Do you remember what that was?
well, so for the trim company, back when I was fully running that, I had a builder tell me, he's like, you are never going to make a dime while you have a tool pouch on. Because
Yeah.
I was in there with my nail gun, laying the base and trimming out the staircase, building the mantles. Like that was,
And still
I
trying to
was
talk to
still doing it.
clients and stuff. Right.
I was still doing the whole thing. And he
Yeah.
was like, you're never going to make a dime doing that. And then, to his credit, I'm looking around at the old heads in the business at the time, and they're missing fingers or down on their luck. Their wife's done left them, and I'm like, God, he's right. So at one point, I stopped trimming. I hired two guys to essentially do what I was doing for my company at the time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I went out with my notepad and just started selling jobs. And it was challenging. There was headaches. There was all things going wrong that wouldn't have gone wrong. I feel like if I'd have been there or whatnot. But we just worked through those. And, next thing you know, I wasn't just trimming what I could trim. I was trimming what five people could trim.
Yeah.
And so that really kind of opened my eyes to, you know, expanding what I can do beyond my own two hands.
Yeah.
Um, and then for the trim company, I mean, for the building company, as we kind of got going, you know, I feel I'm still that knucklehead kid that started that business at 18 that's trying to figure out if I'm going to make it one day. You know what I mean? It's how I look at myself. So I think we hit, God, I think was it 2018 or 19, we hit Builder of the Year by Nashville Lifestyles. And they come out. I didn't even know what was going on. My buddy called me, congratulating me, like, hey, man, this is so amazing. Look at this. And I'm like, what are you even talking about? And
Hmm.
he's like, shut up, man. I'm like, no, what? He's like, you just got Best Builder in Nashville. Um, so it was kind of like, yeah, I put a little something on my shoulder, made me feel special, and
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I got a plaque on my wall to show my mama and stuff. I won a little trophy, and
Yeah.
and it was like, okay, within the next 2 years in a row, we also were voted by our peers best builder in Nashville. So I got this year, 3 years running, and it felt like we got a lot of notoriety. Like we thought we were doing something special.
Yeah.
Jamie and I's MO was from day one. We were going to put more into our houses. We were going to do extra. We were going to do details and things that people wouldn't expect. And we thought we were going to make less money, but we were going to build a reputation we were proud of. And
That's cool that you were both on the same page though.
yeah,
That's really cool. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
from day one though, we were selling for more than our competitors on the street. Like
Yeah.
we were selling, it was showing up, and it was obvious. And I think my trim background and unique design features and those type of details we were able to put together, I really think kind of set us apart early. And then
Hmm.
where people, our kind of MO was, you might walk into my house and absolutely hate it. But when you and your wife talking about it, laying on the bed at night, you're going to remember something about it because it's going to be unique. It's going to be
Yeah.
special. It's
Yeah.
going to be different. You're going to be talking about my house, love it or hate it. I wanted you to remember my house when you walked in, and that was the attitude that we went into every build with.
Yeah.
That we wanted something just that stood out.
Super
If
unique.
yeah, and it never. I'm certain people hated it along the way, but I started seeing those unique features show up in the MLS from other builders. So we were
Mm.
getting copied. We were getting things going on. And, like I think Jamie's attitude was like, I can't believe they copied that. And I was like, oh, that's so great. We
Yeah.
did something so special. People were duplicating it now. So
Other
like
people
that
are
was,
copying you. Yeah.
yeah. And it's just still trying to stay unique and above that curve is what we're still trying to do. And I'm still trying to figure this whole deal out and how it's going to work. I mean, of course, we got systems and we got 15 employees now, and we got superintendents that are working and doing the stuff for us. And it's just still trying to figure out. My role's always progressing to that next step, to that next thing, and it's like this is who I need to be for the company today, and it might not look the same as it was 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's just
Yeah. Yeah.
always trying to be open and progressing.
For sure. But it sounds like a unique challenge, and you like challenges.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah. That's cool. That's very cool. What was there a particular sort of, aside from like the lawsuits or what have you, is there anything that you, well, not the wrong question. The right question is, aside from the builder of the year, is there like a uh unique perspective or a unique perk that has happened as a result of your success? Like, is there like a unique opportunity that's come up, or a feeling that you've gotten because of this success?
well, I mean, it's meant a huge thing to our team. I think our team all kind of walks around with a different attitude. Like they feel like they're working for the best, and we really got something special, and
Hmm.
that's been hugely valuable to them. I think definitely got some notoriety where some custom builds started coming to us, and people started talking that might not. I feel like we were a well known name in amongst realtor circles, real estate circles in Nashville. But I feel like there was kind of a notch up that kind of built our following on Instagram and kind of gave us a little bit more notoriety. That it's something you could show on the website that when you're having a conversation with somebody, you walk into it kind of expecting that they think highly of you
For sure.
versus you walking into the conversation feeling like I have to overtly sell myself to this person so they choose me.
Yeah.
It was like you're walking into the conversation confident of your offering and that they know who you are. and know what you're going to bring to the table. So the sales position probably became a little easier
For
from
sure.
that.
It's like you got the social proof and the validation, but beyond that, you have the skills, you got the experience, you got the team. So you're walking in, you're like, yo, I'm confident this of what I can offer. This is the price. This is the deal, right? As opposed to going in there feeling a little less than or feeling like you have to prove yourself to work up to your value, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty much that. I mean, we're constantly growing, so it's. I mean, I think we're bringing on clients today that it's like we're going to have to level up to meet that need.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But
Yeah.
I've leveled up to meet a lot of needs. So that challenge of can I expand into that and make that happen? There's confidence there, even though there's uncertainty because you've had to do it. You've had to get there before, you know?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's so cool. A quick question I've been loving to ask people is, if you were to start all over today, how would you get onto the path of, in the next 60 to 90 days to like get back to, on the path? Not that you could get everything back in a short period of time, but like, what would you do day one to start
So, like when I started or in today's market?
in today's market?
Um, I think I would try to align myself. I'm broke, I'm assuming. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
align myself with some money.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get somebody to believe in me from that aspect that, this is what we're going to put together. This is what we're going to try to do. Get a couple specs under my belt and really probably go after custom clients that are bringing their own financing to the door,
Mm-hmm.
and then just really try to sell myself as unique and somebody that's really going to get into the details on their home. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what we're doing right now. Is there was a little bit of a market shift, so we weren't buying 15 specs a year like we used to.
Yeah.
So instead of doing 50-50 custom spec, we're more 75% custom, 25% spec now, which is way more challenging and a lot
Mm-hmm.
more just dealing with all the extra clients and their needs and the different things. It's spec house gives you a lot of leeway that a
Yeah.
custom house doesn't.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's cool. That's very cool. Awesome. All right. So this is the part of podcast where I give you any advice. Is there anything that you need help on, or something you'd like to brainstorm about, or anything that's been keeping you up that I could help you with?
Well, how do you how do you see communication and keep communication all the way down from the top to the guy in the field swinging the hammer and keep that consistent?
Mm,
It's like we're really good at hot button issues that are becoming a problem. And
mm-hmm.
me, the owner of that trades company or multiple trades companies, we're aligned. We agree. That guy
Yeah,
understands it's bad. And it's like we really get that hot and heavy. And for the next four builds, we don't deal with that issue. Come the fifth build, all that's forgotten. And now we're dealing with that issue again. And it's re bringing the same things back up. So I feel like our biggest challenge is keeping consistent
mm-hmm.
actions, because you're always like run into this is a hot button or that's a hot button or that's a deal. And it's so you solve those problems and it's like every other hot button issue you had kind of falls to the wayside and you have to start back over.
Yeah,
That's I'd say that's the biggest challenge in managing as many builds as we keep going at a time.
for sure. Well, quick question before what system are you using for communication internally and with your like? Do you have a system?
So internally, amongst all our employees, we communicate on a Slack channel,
Okay.
one
Okay.
for each specific house address, and then like a general one where we send each other stupid memes and whatnot.
Yeah. Okay.
But all the stupid stuff, and then all of our builds are scheduled through Builder Trend.
Got you.
but only for employee use. Like I don't give all the trades, all the updates, and all the things. We adjust it weekly, and then my PMs are then now calling and scheduling down the channels. So for coming and showing up and doing that stuff's fine. It's the technical nitty gritty of we've been here before. I want to stop doing the same problem, you know?
Yeah, so I like that. So I'm like piecing together a couple of strategies. Like one is like how do you communicate and get everybody on the same page so that there's like consistency in solving the problems that routinely or occasionally come up, right? And so I like Slack. I don't know much about Builder Trend, but perhaps there's a sort of like a pre-mortem before things get built, and knowing that there are like a pre-game plan, and I'm sure you do that before, where you bring everybody together and potentially before you kick off a house, like have a party.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and you have a party where you just bring everybody and you talk through the game plan. Another interesting thing that I saw with trades, because they may not be on Builder Trend. Do you have your trades and your subs on Builder Trend?
No, currently we don't. It's just some
It's
are,
too much,
some
right?
aren't.
It's too
It's
much.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're getting
So
the notifications before we update the schedule. They're showing up on the wrong day, all that jazz.
so one thing that I found that is if you had like a mastered like a Google Drive that they can see, and they can get text or what have you with like a Google Drive folder. And then in that Google Drive folder, there's like documents or spreadsheets or whatever that's in there that just says read me before it gets started. And then your PMs or your superintendents can text them before. Because I understand you don't want everybody in your system, and internally you probably have your systems dialed. It's like where you get out of your bubble and you start engaging other people, and you're like you have a relationship with them, but then things inevitably happen, right? And so I would say to further uh like I don't know, have a pre kickoff with everybody, and so that they know. I mean, because the people that you have as subs, like they may not be exclusive to you, but they eat because of you, correct?
Yeah, yeah,
So if you could invite them to a lunch and they will show up, correct?
of course.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So maybe that's when that happens, and just sort of further, because, and I'm sure you also do, I started to do this where I dedicate like a day, like 3 hours on, 2 times a week to literally documenting SOPs. So things that keep coming up, just like I just keep a running list of them, and then I'll just work out. And sometimes maybe you and Jamie, right?
Yeah,
Like you and Jamie could just sit down and like collaborate together and be like, these are the SOPs that we're gonna come up with because they just keep coming up, and then delegate out to the superintendent, or maybe have them there. But like everybody that's a sub, instead of them building on Build a Trend or Slack, they just get a Google Drive and it says read me, and in there they have to read it, and then they text the superintendent or the project manager back that says like, all right, I'm good with this. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, that's basically could
That's
just
basically
create
what you do.
a tab. No, I mean we got somewhat of that in instance, but if I keep the SOP for everybody, basically, which we have a couple trades we have fully built out. We just need to continue adding these headaches that come about
Yeah.
that aren't unique to a specific job, but are
Yeah.
just normalities.
No, yeah.
That's what I always tell my people. Like, I want to solve something new today. Like, I want to solve I don't, I want to quit
Oh,
solving the
it's
same
annoying to solve an old
boring
problem, right?
problem.
It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's so annoying. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Anyway,
no, I mean that's a great idea. I think that could work for me.
cool. Very cool. Awesome. All right, tell everybody your website.
BuildNashvilleTN.com.
Awesome. Hey man, dude, thank you so much for your time, and for sharing your story. And congratulations on building such a great company, and
Appreciate it, man. You as
and
well.
yeah, no, it's really really cool, and I look forward to staying in touch.
Sounds good, man.
All right, take care.